Fear is holding you back from being who God called you to be and doing what God called you to do. So I'm here to fight with the fear that's holding you back. I'm not fighting with you. Because if you do not get control of your fear, you might as well go ahead and write off the rest of the year. Because there are things God is going to call you to do that if you are too afraid to do it, you're going to miss it. Some of us are too scared. Too scared to send the email. Too scared to send a text message. Too scared to apply for the loan. Too scared to ask for the promotion. You've been working there for 6 years and you ain't never asked for a promotion and you are scared. Why? Well, I don't want to upset them. Whose issue is them being upset? No. Well, I don't want to upset them. Well, if anger is in them, that's their problem. You got to go for what God called you to go for and not be too scared to ask for what you're worth. But here's the reality. It's not that God has not unleashed abundance in your life, but you're too scared to ask for it. Because on the inside, you're afraid, well, what if they say no? Well, what if they do? Maybe God needs you to leave that place and he needs them to say no to get you where you're supposed to be. But because you're too scared to ask for what you're worth, you can never actually know if this is the place that can handle your worth. So you'd rather live beneath your worth just to fit into a circumstance and situation because you're too scared to do otherwise. Why is this important? Because you're too scared to even let somebody know you're interested in them. What if they say no? Well, what if they do? Is your life over because somebody doesn't want you the way you want them? But at least you get a chance to live life on your terms when you have enough faith to say, I'm going to go after someone regardless of what they do for me. Right now, I want all of us to fast forward to the end of our life real quick. Deathbed. On your deathbed, are you going to regret not doing what God is calling you to do right now? And if the answer is yes, let's come back into the present. Why don't you do it? But think about it. We just get so anxious about fears in the moment that we don't act. We don't get confirmation if God is in it or if God isn't in it. But when we go back and when we go forward and we put it all in the perspective of death in this life, what were we too afraid to do? On our deathbed, are we going to sit there and say, well, you know, I didn't actually go after the woman I wanted because I was afraid she was going to say no. So I spent my life to, this way. Come on. I never went after the job. I was too scared. So I just stayed at that job for 30 years, making the same money for 30 years. I know it sounds crazy, but anytime you're wrestling with if you should do what God is calling you to do, put yourself on your deathbed for a minute. You will not regret every move of faith you make. But you have to detach yourself from the result.